The rusted padlock gave way on Marcus's third strike with the rock. At 12 years old, he'd broken into plenty of abandoned places. It's what you did when you had nowhere else to go. But something about this barn felt different. The air seemed heavier here, thick with secrets that pressed against his chest. The door groaned open, and afternoon light spilled across rotted floorboards. Dust motes danced in the golden beams, and for a moment, Marcus thought he'd find nothing but empty stalls and bird nests. Then he heard it. A wet, labored breath coming from the shadows at the far end. His foster dad's voice echoed in his head, the one before the last one, or maybe the one before that. They all blurred together. Curiosity killed the cat, boy. But Marcus had learned that cats had 9 lives, and he was pretty sure he'd already used up at least 5 of his. He crept forward, his worn sneakers silent on the hay-strewn floor. The breathing grew louder, punctuated by a soft moan. Then he saw her. She was chained to a support beam, thick links wrapped around her torso and arms. Blood matted her blonde hair on one side, trickling down to stain the leather vest she wore. Even slumped and injured, she looked fierce, the kind of person who'd spit in death's eye and make it blink first. Her vest bore patches Marcus didn't understand. A skull with wings, flames, words that seemed important but meant nothing to him. Their eyes met. Hers were blue, sharp even through the pain. "Kid," she rasped, "you should run." Marcus didn't run. He'd been running his whole life, from foster homes, from schools, from himself. He was tired of running. "You're hurt," he said, stating the obvious because he didn't know what else to say. A ghost of a smile crossed her cracked lips. Observant. "What's your name?" "Marcus. I'm Diana." She shifted, and the chains rattled. Her face contorted with pain. "Listen carefully, Marcus. In my vest pocket there's a phone. I need you to call a number. Can you do that?" Marcus moved closer, his hands shaking as he reached into her pocket. The phone was there, surprisingly intact. He pulled it out. "Unlock code is 1-9-6-3, Diana said. "Then call Reaper. He's in my contacts." Marcus did as instructed, his fingers clumsy on the cracked screen. The phone rang twice before a gruff voice answered. "Dee, where the hell are you? We've been looking for—" "She's hurt," Marcus interrupted. "There's chains and blood and—" "Who is this?" The voice sharpened. "Where's Diana?" "Old Mercer Barn," Diana called out, her voice stronger now. "Off Route 47. Tell them to hurry, Reaper. And tell them—" She paused, wincing. "Tell them Vince did this." Marcus heard cursing on the other end, then the rumble of engines starting in the background. "We're coming, Dee. 15 minutes. Kid, you stay with her, you hear me? Don't let her fall asleep." The line went dead. "Vince?" Marcus asked, sitting down carefully beside Diana. "Is he coming back?" "Not if my family gets here first." She tried to smile again, but it came out as more of a grimace. "You live around here, Marcus?" "Nowhere. Everywhere." He shrugged. "Foster kid. Ran away 3 days ago from the Hendersons. They weren't good people." Diana studied him with those sharp blue eyes. Even chained and bleeding, she seemed to see everything. All the bruises he tried to hide, all the hunger he pretended wasn't there, all the nights he'd spent wondering if anyone in the world gave a damn whether he lived or died. "How'd you end up here?" she asked. "Saw the barn yesterday when I was hiking through the woods. Thought it might be a good place to sleep tonight, away from the road." He picked at a loose thread on his jeans. "Why'd someone do this to you?" "Because I testified against his brother. Sent him to prison for running guns and drugs through our territory." Diana's jaw tightened. "Vince thought he could make me take it back, or at least make me pay for it. He was wrong on both counts." Marcus heard it then. The distant thunder of engines, growing louder. Not 1 or 2, but dozens, maybe more. The sound built like a storm rolling across the sky, and the old barn seemed to vibrate with it. "That's them," Diana said, and for the first time, her expression softened with something like relief. The motorcycles arrived in a wave of chrome and leather and noise. Marcus's eyes widened as they poured into the clearing around the barn. Huge bikes with riders who looked like they'd stepped out of a movie. Men and women in leather vests similar to Diana's. Their faces hard but their eyes scanning for threats. The first one through the barn door was massive, easily 6.5 feet tall with a gray beard that reached his chest. His vest proclaimed him Reaper, and his face went pale when he saw Diana. Jesus Christ, D. He was at her side in 3 strides, producing bolt cutters from somewhere. What did he do to you? 3 broken ribs, concussion, probably some internal bleeding. Diana rattled off like she was reading a grocery list. And he's got a 2-hour head start. The chains fell away, and Diana sagged forward. Reaper caught her, impossibly gentle for such a large man. More bikers crowded into the barn now, their faces a mix of fury and concern. Road captain's already tracking him, a woman with silver hair said. She knelt beside Marcus, her expression softening. You're the one who called? You did good, kid. Marcus nodded, feeling overwhelmed by all the people, all the noise. He'd never seen anything like this. This strange, fierce family that had appeared out of nowhere. Get her to Doc's place, Reaper ordered. And someone call the cops. I want Vince's face plastered on every news channel from here to California. No hospitals? Diana protested weakly. Doc's place first, Reaper said firmly. Make sure you're stable. Then hospital if he says so. As they carefully lifted Diana, she reached out and grabbed Marcus's arm. Wait, the kid. He's coming with us. D, we can't just. He saved my life, Reaper. He's got no one. And I'm not leaving him here to end up back in whatever hell he ran from. Her voice was steel. He's under our protection now. Anyone got a problem with that? The barn fell silent except for the idle rumble of engines outside. 370 bikers had answered the call when one of their own was in trouble. Marcus could feel them all, watching, waiting. Reaper looked down at Marcus, then back at Diana. A slow smile spread across his face. Clubs never had a kid before. Then it's about time we did, Diana said. The silver-haired woman, her vest said Valkyrie, held out her hand to Marcus. You hungry, kid? Marcus realized he was starving. He'd been starving for 3 days, but more than that, he'd been starving his whole life for exactly this. For someone to ask, for someone to care, for someone to simply want him there. Yeah, he whispered. Then let's get you both somewhere safe. Valkyrie helped him up. You ride with me. They loaded Diana carefully into a van that had appeared. Apparently the club kept one for emergencies. Marcus found himself on the back of Valkyrie's bike, a helmet somehow produced in his size. As the massive convoy of motorcycles roared to life, he wrapped his arms around her waist and held on. They moved as one entity, this strange family of outcasts and rebels. The bikes flanked the van protectively, an honor guard for their wounded sister. And somewhere in the middle of it all, Marcus felt something he hadn't felt in years, maybe ever. Safe. At Doc's place, which turned out to be a veterinarian's office where a gruff old man with steady hands examined Diana. The bikers gathered in the parking lot. Someone produced food from somewhere, and Marcus found himself with a burger and fries while Reaper made phone calls and the others talked in low, urgent voices about finding Vince. Diana emerged an hour later, bandaged and pale but walking under her own power. She found Marcus sitting on the steps and lowered herself carefully beside him. Doc says I'll live, she announced. Wants me to go to the hospital for a CT scan, but the ribs just need time. She looked at him sideways. You know what you signed up for, kid? This family, it's not conventional. Marcus thought about foster homes where he was just a check, schools where he was just a problem, a world where he'd been invisible for 12 years. Then he looked at the parking lot full of bikers who'd dropped everything to save one of their own, who'd made room for him without question because Diana had said so. I've never had conventional, he said. Conventional didn't want me. Diana put her arm around his shoulders, and Marcus felt something break open in his chest. Some dam he'd built to keep out all the hurt and rejection. For the first time in forever, He let himself believe that maybe, just maybe, he'd found where he belonged. "Welcome to the Iron Angels, Marcus," Diana said softly. "Welcome home." Around them, engines rumbled like thunder, and 370 bikers raised their fists in silent acknowledgement. An orphan boy who'd had nothing now had everything. And a bleeding Hell's Angel who'd been left to die had been saved by the one person who refused to look away. 6 months later, Vince would be arrested. The charges would be extensive, the evidence overwhelming. But that was all still to come. In that moment, in that parking lot, Marcus learned the most important lesson of his life. Family isn't always about blood. Sometimes it's about finding your tribe, your people, the ones who show up when you need them most. And sometimes it's about being the one who shows up for someone else. The Iron Angels rode out into the sunset, one member stronger than they'd been that morning, and Marcus rode with them finally home.